All right, we are live. Welcome back to Stock Tricks with Nick, the midweek movers live stream. So typically we do this on Wednesdays, but we're gonna be kind of playing around with that, doing one this week, Tuesday. We'll keep it Tuesday for a while to see if that has any more value than the Wednesday live stream. I think it might, just because we do a live stream on Friday as well for any new viewers. So if we do one Friday, there's a lot that goes on over the weekend that can change trading plans. So instead of having the midweek one on Wednesday and then what we covered there only being applicable to Thursday and Friday, we'll move this to Tuesday, see how that works for everyone. So if you could let me know in the comments, do you like Tuesday, do you like Wednesday, anything like that. If you are new to the channel, this is a stock trading, for the most part, stock trading channel. There's some personal finance videos that I've made in the past, but we do these live streams either Tuesday or Wednesday and Friday. This midweek movers, I'll cover just a quick cover of the overall market, and then specifically stocks that I'm currently trading, what's on my watch list, and anything that you guys want to see, either from Stock Twits, Twitter, or using the comment section here. So if you want to see any stocks, leave them in the comments and we'll get to as many as we can. Also, if you enjoy anything that I put out here, please leave a like on the video. It helps me out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm trying to push this out to new viewers. Just hit that 1,000 sub point, so that was pretty exciting. Let's keep this going on. So let's jump to it. Midweek movers. This is all about earnings week this week. With earnings, there's a lot of volatility already, and then you add on top of that, you have the election coming up in the United States. I know we have a few global viewers here. So election week in the United States happening next Tuesday. So added volatility there. And then we have the stimulus. Will that happen or not in the US? And just more virus uncertainty. So with all this volatility in the market, is it time to swing for home runs? Time to go on leverage, go on margin to take a couple trades? I don't think so. I'm definitely not doing so. For the most part, actually right now I'm net negative overall, or net short the market. Holding a couple stocks that we'll cover later, but for me right now it's all about just hitting singles and doubles in the market, not trying to go for home runs. We want to press our luck, press our money when there's a clear uptrend or a clear downtrend and we're shorting. Right now, everything's moving to the side. There's spikes in certain stocks with earnings. So let's let the dust settle before we put too much money out in the market. Earnings, we have, let's see, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, and Google all happening after hours on Thursday. After hours today, we had Microsoft report, and their stock moved lower, brought the rest of the market with them. So again, still more uncertainty, and solar is leading the way as it has been typically. We have FLSR reporting earnings, and that brought up the rest of these stocks: JKS, Run, SPWR, CSIQ, and the ETF TAN. So we'll see how solar does tomorrow, but right now, after hours, they're the leading stocks. After Monday's red day, and if you guys follow me on Stock Twits or Twitter, you know that when we got the pull down on Monday, I said, give it the first hour. Let's see if we move higher, which we did. And then we just crashed right below the lows put in that first hour. And that showed me that the market's weak. We already talked about that last week, that the market was getting shaky. All the quality setups were breaking to the wrong side. So anyone from this live stream, we were not going heavy into this week. So that was a good thing. But the Chinese stocks today were working really well. So maybe that's just because US has a lot of uncertainty. People want to move some of their money into the Chinese stocks. So NIO, Alibaba, SE, and JD were all pretty strong. No, I'm not a long-term investor. This is more of a swing trading channel. So I base everything on technical analysis. Price and volume is the two things I really focus on when trading. I don't listen to any news. There's way too much bias out there. I let the price and the volume tell me the story. I'll be aware of some things going on, but I found just to keep the chart as simple as possible. You'll see in a second I have like moving averages and stuff, but for the most part it's just volume and price that help my trading. And typically holding between 3 days to 20 days, maybe a month if the trade's working out for me. So these are just kind of the highlights of the week. Let's go to the stocks. So current holdings, and we'll cover some, if not all of these stocks today, but we'll cover first what I'm currently holding, some past trades that I also got on StockTwits that you guys wanted me to cover, the requests from StockTwits and Twitter, and a few stocks on my watch list to keep a gauge of the market, and then I see we got some in the chat right here. So got a lot of stocks to cover. Let's get right to it. All right, nope, not that one. All right, here we go. Let's just jump really quick through the S&P 500. These are daily candles, and let me change this to so you guys can see. So on the screen over here, it shows exactly what each of these charts mean. We have the Bollinger Bands, 2 standard deviations above and below the 20-day simple moving average, this green line. We have the 8-day exponential moving average, purple line here. 50-day simple moving average is the red candle, and the 200-day simple moving average is the 200-day moving average. Red line here is just the 50-day average for volume, so we can see if we're spiking on big volume, that's typically leading in continuation, or selling off on large volume. So keeping an eye on volume relativity is good. And then we do have price relativity compared to the QQQ, NASDAQ 100. So we always want to be buying stocks showing relative strength, not relative weakness, because when the market does turn around, those stocks that were showing relative strength while the market was weak typically tend to break out to higher highs. That being said, so we got the S&P 500. Monday we made lower lows and lower highs. We got this long lower wick, and that got bought up into the close yesterday, but still closed under that 50-day simple moving average, the red line here. So definitely market weakness, and look at how much volume came on that sell-off day. Now some of this volume was in the rally to the close, but still high volume on a sell day. Today, you saw the high of the day just touch off that 50-day simple moving average. Now that we closed below that, it becomes resistance on the other side. So high today found resistance there, and then we closed lower. That was the S&P 500, QQQ. A little bit different story here. Basically the same, but with Facebook, Apple, Google, Amazon earnings still coming up in the week. This is going to stay a little bit more steady, I think. You see a close just at that 50-day simple moving average. But let's see, does that? So it's actually a little bit higher. It's counting this after hours move. So after hours were down, it seems like because of Microsoft reporting. But you see all these moving averages are basically flat now. There's no strong trend. So when there's no strong trend, it makes it harder to trade and to put large amounts of money onto trades. So when there's no trend, we're not trying to make too much money. We're putting feelers out in the market and see what we come back with. All right, so that was QQQ and DIA, the Dow Jones. So, oh yeah, let me throw my trade history up on there. So I did switch my short position from QQQ to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, just because you could see here relative strength. This has been relatively weaker than the NASDAQ, so if I'm going to be shorting something to kind of hedge any of the positions that I'm holding, I want to short the thing that's acting the weakest. So switch that over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and today we saw an inside day, but below all of the, basically in the lower part of the previous candle, which still shows weakness. You see 0.84% down day. And now we're starting to press on those lower Bollinger Bands, and doing so while it's constricted. So we could start to see those bands expand while we push lower. On the reverse side, it could just find some support down here because it did not break under the previous day's low. If we find support, market moves higher. Some of these earnings work out for the big guys, and the industries move higher. But regardless of what happens this week with the election next week, not trying to hit any home runs. Let's just put some feelers out in the market, notice relative strength in certain stocks, certain industries, and go from there. So those are the main indexes. Let's get into some stocks I'm currently holding. So we have CARR. You can see the green flag here is where I bought. This was a nice, let me zoom out so you guys get the whole picture. Oh, something went wrong there. Let me bring this back, sorry. So I'm not dollar for dollar shorts versus my long. I'm actually net short right now, but still not at a super high exposure. So let's see. I'm only about a 10% of my portfolio net short. But this is CARR. You can see I bought on this breakout day using these previous highs to buy that. What concerned me about this breakout the most was the low volume we got on it, but the next day we saw some continuation with higher volume. That kept me in the trade. Since then, been a really easy one to manage. Has pulled back a couple times to that 8-day exponential moving average, but for the most part, just a nice, easy uptrend. And today we got lower lows, lower highs, but still closed right above that 8-day exponential moving average. We do have earnings on this. On the 29th, I believe that's Thursday after hours, right? Thursday, oh, before. So tomorrow, if I don't have the 10% profit that I need to hold into earnings, which unless this moves drastically drastically higher, I won't get that 10%, just because earnings is always a coin flip. I'm only holding into earnings if I have a 10% profit buffer. So probably cut this trade tomorrow, or lighten up the exposure to get it to a place where even if it pulls back on earnings, it won't cause the trade to be a loser. So that's CARR. CRDF is one that I took today. So you could see here that I've taken this trade before, right before this long breakout. Used some of these highs. Actually, let me draw that again. I drew a downward diagonal, super sharp, so a low cheat if you follow Mark Minervini. Bought it this day, lightened up overall exposure in the market, so just taking some off. I'm not an options trader, just trading stock. But this found support at that 8-day exponential moving average. We got volume lightening up, which is exactly what we want to see during pullbacks. On breakouts, we want to see heavy volume, lots of buyers, and then we want it to go quiet. We want all the day traders to take their profit as it's up there. As a swing trader, if you're a day trader, you're taking profit, that's great. That's a great trade. I'm taking profit on the way up as well. But with the breakout, we want big buying volume, and then we want those pullbacks to be really quiet. We want very little amount of people and a lot amount of size to be selling those breakouts. So that's kind of what we saw here. Move sideways, and then we broke out up 30% that day. You could see a couple more red flags. I I sold into the strength every time it made in a multiple of my average gain for a winning trade, which is right now 7%. And then I don't know why it says buy. So tried a buy. This was a dumb kind of ad. I only added what would have been 10% of the position back on at this point as it tested below the 8-day and then moved higher, but got stopped out of the rest. Let's see, what price was that for? 13.44. Only had a very small amount left. I was trying to kind of play this as a bounce, but it went right through my entry point of 355 of 12.74, so got stopped out of the rest. Now it's setting up again, really quality. So let me remove some of these flags so it's easier to see. So this downtrend got broke, but at this point the market was acting shaky. I'm not trying to add too much size, so I'm keeping an eye on this. And then got another move, and you can see relative strength going up here, so that's exactly what I'm looking for. And then today I bought in right as it broke over 15. I think I got in at 15.03, but again, typically when I buy stocks, it'll be about 10% of my portfolio size. Right now, with all the volatility in the market, I'm doing 5% at each of my entries. So keeping everything light, just putting those feelers out in the market, nothing crazy. But you can see the low of the day found support at the 8-day exponential moving average, pushed right back over the 20-day, and we closed right near the high of the day and over these two highs of days. So does this have to go up? Absolutely not. There's no absolutes in trading. I'm just trying to add as much probability to my side as possible, use strict risk controls, and then roll the dice. So this is CRDF, something that I already have good profit from the last 30% breakout. So we'll test this trade, see how that works. For my stop loss, I'll put it under, I'll probably do, I need to think about this later, but probably do some just below the low of the day here, which would be under those two lows, those two moving averages as well. And that's 6.5%. Yeah, I'd just do that. Put my stop loss under the low of the day. So that's CRDF, ECOM, ECOM, one that I just took here. If you were following along on Friday, this is one of the stocks that we found using the FinViz scanner. So if you're new to the channel, last Friday we went over how to use FinViz to drum up some new trade ideas. There's a timestamp in that video, so go check that out. But this is one that we found during the live stream. You can see, let me get rid of that big volume candle so we see some relative volume. So we see this breakout, pullback, very, very low volume on that pullback. So we saw the breakout on heavy volume, exactly what we want to see, and then that pullback on light volume. So I missed this little breakout here, but bought in today as we saw increase in buying volume. Again, that 8-day exponential moving average never broke under there. And now we're kind of seeing a top there. So overall, kind of a cup. Let me draw that better. That's a terrible drawing. Kind of a cup and handle here. There we go. Little cup. There's your handle. And volume's in our favor. So again, does this trade have to work out? No. But that's exactly what I'm looking for. Has the volume pattern. Has that uptrend, and zooming out, it has been in a strong overall uptrend. Let's see, what did it get to? Went up 418% since February through here before pulling back. So we'll see how that goes. That's ECOM. JD, this is one of the Chinese stocks that we talked about earlier, showing great strength. Look at this price relativity to QQQ. Very strong. Couple days pulled back down to the 20-day simple moving average, but held through there. Today we got higher highs, higher lows, closed back over that 8-day exponential moving average. And now it's setting up for kind of an add point here. So using previous highs there, if we can break over, let's see, what would that be? 84.75. That would be a good add point. So right now I'm sitting with probably less than 5%, probably 4% or so. But this looks really, really solid. Maybe a cup and a couple handles here. Basically, you're getting just smaller and smaller pullbacks. So that first one, 17% through there. 7.7, 6. Maybe we get one more small pullback, but this is that VCP pattern that we talk about, volatility contraction pattern. I did not coin that. That was Mark Minervini. Definitely give him a follow on Twitter. He's awesome. So that's JD, something I own. Looking forward to holding that. Still looks strong. Where am I? NET. NET. This is one that we've talked about. Bought this later on in the day after it held over the 8-day. I am down a little bit on that because I bought around the high of this day. So let's see, what am I down? Not much. 1.3%, 2%, whatever that is. Again, only 5% on this position, but looking for it to hold over the 8-day. If we move lower than that, I'll probably skim some off, and it does look like, at least after hours, we're down a little bit, but we'll see how that goes tomorrow. But this is textbook. We had a strong move and then a breakout on high volume, pulled back to that 8-day, volume got really quiet. So if the market can come back around, because this is showing good relative strength through here, this will likely move higher. So that's NET, something that I got today as well. Just really quick here, because we've talked about this enough. PBI, really, really strong pattern through here. Bought after the close on this day, this green candle. Oh wait, where am I? Trade history. Bought in at 650 here. The next day we pushed higher. Since then we've just kind of gently moved higher, not anything too drastic, but I do have my profit of 10% going into earnings, so I will be holding into earnings with the remaining shares. Don't have a full position still on this as I take profits through multiples of my average gain, but about a half, so 5%, 4% going into earnings with that, unless this drastically pulls down, hits some stops. If that happens, I'm out. Jason, great question. Yes. I don't typically put the limits in until that day, because if we gap up overnight, I'll play that a little bit differently. But if a stock goes over 7% of my entry point, at that point I'll look to take profits there. Right now I'm doing 10% of the position. Probably should move that to 20% during these volatile times. So probably going to be doing that till the election's decided, or until we get these growth stocks breaking out and holding their breakouts like we like. I'll get to PEIX in a little bit. And last one I'm still holding is RVLV. You can see I bought a little bit here right below as it pulled back through here. Let's see, what price did I get? 1869. I added once it broke over that 50-day simple moving average, and then took some profit as it kept pushing higher. Once it gets extended over the Bollinger Band and at my 7% profit goal, I'll take some off. Then we got a pullback to the 8-day exponential moving average. Really light volume today on an inside day. I have my stop loss that I'll set at my average entry point. So this will be a winning trade regardless, but unless we gap down. If we gap down, I can't do anything about that. But this is RVLV, large short float. So if it does keep continuing to press higher, you might get a short squeeze on that. So those are the stocks that I'm currently holding. And if you ever want to see these stocks or see what I'm holding at the time, you can follow me on StockTwits. Just jumping to that really quick. If you go on your laptop or computer or whatever, oh, why is it doing that? StockTwits. You can see my watch list if you click on my profile. We'll see if this comes back up. In anything that I'm trading, it'll show up on my watch list. So if you're ever wondering what I'm holding, that'll be there. This is not working out, but I don't think you can see it from the app, but that's from your laptop, you can see it. All right. Oh, and SAIL. Sorry, one other one that I took today. So this is one that we talked about last Friday. Gapped up, has been holding that gap really well. 20-day simple moving average twice has provided support. And now we have the 20-day coming up right with that 8-day converging there, and at the low of the day today held as support. So bought in a little bit today as we made higher highs, higher lows, and that support held. So we'll see how that goes. That's SAIL. All right, a couple of trades in the past that I want to get to. I'll go AMTX, then PEIX, because they trade kind of similarly. We've covered this in the past. Got in with an average of 355 through here as it pulled back down. Added as we held the 8-day exponential moving average, and then let me just sold some. You could see all these red flags selling into strength, selling into strength, selling into strength. So once we actually made this longer red candle, I only had 20% of the position left, and then I cut another 10% off. No, I cut the rest off today as we made lower lows. So completely out of this trade right now, but from 355, it ran up to the highest, 43%. Now I didn't get 43% on the trade because I was taking stock off as it was moving up and as it was moving back down. So I'll need to put together the stats on this trade, but probably around 22% gain on this one. This was great, but now it's in a strong downtrend. We see not as much selling volume, but once it starts breaking over previous day's lows, going under 8 days, 20-day simple moving averages, not a stock that I want to be in anymore. Similar story was with PEIX. So far, the best trade that I've had this year. Traded it twice through here, both times. Really clean, really easy entries. Got that VCP, the volatility contraction pattern through here. Bought at 428. It ran up the first time 108%. I did not get 108%. You could see all the red flags through here as me selling into strength. We get this red candle outside of the upper Bollinger Band. Like we talk about every week, that's a sign of it's time to take some profit. You'll likely start to see a pullback or sideways movement as the breakout is getting a little bit exhausted. That's exactly what you saw here. We've got a breakout, pull back to that 8-day, and then I added again at 806 through here. And then just, you could see the red flags of me selling into strength on the way up. I sold my last shares the day before the top, so I didn't get the absolute top. You rarely do, but the next day we kind of got that red candle, not completely outside of the Bollinger Band, but right at it. And then we start seeing the strong sell-off on huge selling volume. So if you were in the stock all the way through, that's awesome. You have some stop losses set at previous day's lows. Maybe for the worst, you have it at this 8-day exponential moving average, or maybe even the 20-day if you're really running a good profit. But that's the very lowest you should have had your stop loss to lock in profit. These last 2 days of strong selling, hopefully you didn't experience that. Hopefully you took some stops through here. If you did experience it this time, it's not the end of the world, just a wake-up call. That's why I love selling into strength, because you book some profits, and then when it starts working against you, it's easier to take off the trade emotionally because you're not fully invested in it, because you already locked in your profit and you're just trading with good risk controls. So if you're still in this and this was you, this is a lesson learned. I've done it in the past. I don't even know how many times, but once I started trading with really strict risk controls, using stop losses, always trying to trade stocks in an uptrend, that's when I became consistently profitable. Before then, it was always hit and miss. So kind of take that away. If you're watching the stock, Got the 50-day simple moving average along with this pullback that might provide some support right around that 640 to 660 range. But like I said, I don't buy into downtrends. I'll wait for this to bounce, find some support, and then pivot higher with increased buying volume before I buy in again. This had been twice now. Great trade, probably the best stock for me this year, but not something I'm looking to trade right now. That's PEIX. Alibaba, kicking myself on this one because you can see bought when it broke over 300 and then got stopped out shortly after. Not stopped out, sorry. I took this stock off when we saw that gap down day in the market, and I just wanted to lighten up my entire portfolio, but chose the wrong one to do that with because you saw a large green candle here basically recapture the 8-day exponential moving average, and then since then just moved sideways, and then today along with the other Chinese stocks, higher highs, higher lows, increased buying volume, looking strong. So yeah, if you have Alibaba right now, this is not the time to sell. It looks solid. Now you have to stick to whatever your selling strategy is. Maybe you got in around 300 or a little bit below, and now you're at your first multiple of your average gain, so you're taking some profit. That's great. Selling into strength is always a good thing, locking in profit. But looks strong right now. Kicking myself that I did not hold on to this one. That's Alibaba, BABA. Let's go Roku. This one still looks strong. Again, I just took off the wrong stocks this week. So bought this on Monday, Monday? I forget which. Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Bought it last Wednesday as it came down through here and broke over this downward diagonal, not perfectly drawn, you could see, because it broke out with heavy volume and then started pulling back on lighter volume while showing good relative strength, all the things that I'm looking for. And got stopped out when it broke under this previous low, which was too tight of a stop, but I was also just trying to get exposure out of the market. Wrong one to do it with. Again, you see this 20-day simple moving average coming up, holding support through there. We got a stronger close today, but on a little bit lighter volume. So if we start breaking over now these highs, the highs on Monday and what would that be, Thursday of 230 for easy math, maybe I put some size back on because this is held super well, because this was what kind of move is this? It's a 47% move that only gave back 9% and on lower decreasing volume. That's a good sign. So Roku is definitely something that I would watch going into the end of this week. NIO, NEO. We've covered this before, bought in this area when it was just flagging out after its past breakout on heavy volume, and then the volume got really quiet, light. 8-day always held as support. Then we broke out. I was selling into strength, got that red candle close outside of the upper Bollinger Band. That signaled the start of a pullback or sideways movement. But then today, really, really strong move, broke over a bunch of previous highs, came on high volume, right back at the highs of the second or third day after the all-time high. So closed right at the high of the day, looking good. Down a little bit after hours, but the entire market is. And you can see relative strength through here is still going up. So NIO, another Chinese company, looking really strong this week. And another one that I got from you guys to cover is Parts, PRTS. Completely kicking myself on this one too, and I wouldn't have taken this trade off if the market overall was acting fine. But we got a really nice, let me zoom out to show you. I'm always trying to trade stocks in a strong uptrend that are just starting to pull back. So you saw this one jump 760%, and then starting to do that VCP, so 38% from high to low, 20% from high to low, 7.5% from high to low. So 3 pullbacks, less magnitude, volume a little bit lighter on each one of them. But I didn't buy this breakout because I just missed that. But once it consolidated again, I used the highs to buy on this breakout over the previous high. And then it just ran through that 8-day exponential moving average, using that as the low. And unfortunately, yesterday this gapped up. So I took some profit as it was moving higher, but then it had a bearish engulfing candle where the highs and lows of the day are higher and lower than the previous day. And with all that volume, I got stopped out at my entry price here. So just tried to protect profits. Today, it worked against me, moved higher, higher highs, higher lows, covered that 8-day exponential moving average, showing support there. So another one where I just took the wrong trade-off, but after it went through a multiple of my average gain, I didn't want to give it back as make it a losing trade, so just got stopped out at my entry for that. If you're in it still, looks solid. Watch for a close under the 8-day, not just a move under the 8-day. Let me run through this. PEIX, PDD, sorry. PDD was one that I've been using as kind of like a temperature check for the market because this is a quality setup. You see breakout on high volume through here, and then pullback on very light volume. So that shows less sellers. And then we start breaking out again on increasing volume, pulled back on lighter volume. And then we have higher highs on Monday, higher highs, higher lows, or lower lows. You see the 8-day exponential moving average held as support there. Then today we got higher highs, higher lows, still looking strong through here. So let's see how this goes. I'm using this one just to watch because I want to see a lot of quality setups break out and hold, showing that the market for these growth stocks is actually healthy before I start putting back my normal 10% of a position size, or adding too many positions on, or taking off my hedge. So right now I'm playing it very safe, not trying to make a lot of money, just trying to get a feel of what the market is doing. So this was PDD, good setup, good volume pattern, exactly what we were looking for. So far holding, so that's PDD. See Chewy. This is another one, showed some good relative strength through here, held the 20-day simple moving average, higher highs, higher lows, full candle, recaptured the 8-day, and an uptick in buying volume. So this is one that I had sold off through the strength here and then sold the rest. Let's see, what price was that? 63.40 average for the rest. Looks good through here. Probably not going to add this back just yet, but if you stayed in it as it bounced off the 20-day, this is giving you no reason to sell right now. All right, what else? DAR, got this from StockTwits. Someone wanted me to cover this. I had traded this in the past. Got stopped out of the rest, sold some into strength, and then right after that it just took off. Let's see, it was up 40%. You hate to see that, but it happens. Good thing to just note. And honestly, I would have done the same thing over again. Once it goes through a multiple of my average gain, I'm protecting my entry. Who knows how low this could have gone, but held at the 50-day and then just pressed higher. From then, these last 2 days are kind of tough. So you might have gotten stopped out because this cut really low today and then got bought right back up to close at that 8-day. If you're still in this, I would use probably that 20-day simple moving average as the rest of my stop, and that'll put it under like this guy's low and this guy's low. Interesting chart here. Usually the long upper wick shows that there's a lot of selling pressure at those prices, which we saw the follow through there coming down. But then long lower wicks usually show buying pressure at those prices, and it got bought back up here. So maybe now we press higher. But we'll see. I'm not going to be one to trade this again, but we'll keep an eye on that. That's DAR. VNDA. This is also from StockTwits. Haven't seen this stock before. So right off the bat, not one that I'm going to be trading. It's under the 200-day simple moving average. You can see it's in a strong downtrend overall. Does that mean you can't make money on this stock? Absolutely not. There's many, many ways to trade profitably in the market, but what I've found the most consistent results with is buying stocks that have been in a strong uptrend, that are pulling back to some 8-day, 20-day moving average on lower volume, and then buying through the strength when it breaks back out. So with this strong downtrend, the 20 days or 200-day is above the current price. You're getting a little bit of a push here, maybe higher lows for the first time in a while. So possibly a good sign, but still not something that I would be holding. If you're in it already, you can use the low of the previous day, and that would be under the 8, the 20, and the 50-day simple moving average. So if it goes back below there, you're likely to press even lower here. But again, not something that fits my trading style. Doesn't mean it can't work, but all right. CALX, definitely one that I'll be watching this week, and one that I got from StockTwits. Broke out on earnings, was already in a pretty strong uptrend until then, and since earnings, it's holding relatively well. Nothing too crazy with the movement. Volume's getting lighter and lighter, so we'll see if this moves lower to the 8-day exponential moving average, maybe undercut this low before taking off. A lot of those stocks that break out do like to undercut the lowest point from the breakout before it moves higher. So we'll see if it does that. Otherwise, if it starts kind of moving over this downward diagonal using previous highs, if it goes over that, and if it does so on high volume, then this could be just one of those gap and go stocks. So this is CALX. MARK, this is the one that I'm thinking of. Yeah, not what I'm trading. I like to trade stocks typically over $5. With AMTX and PEIX, those were a little bit lighter at like $3.50 and $4.30, but at $1, not going to fit my trading style very well. You can see a really strong pullback. What is this? 68%. So already off my board. If it pulls back more than 50% from the highs, I'll let it break out for the first time or so. But you saw breakout here and then just gave that all quickly back as it re-entered that converging area of the, let's see what's in there. Basically all of them. The 20, 50, 200-day simple moving average, all right there. Yeah, not a stock I would trade. That's MARK. And then the last one that I got from StockTwits, and then we'll go through some of the ones that you guys want to see before hitting the rest of my watch list. So HBM, strong uptrend, good. We broke out and have since pulled back to the 8-day exponential moving average. Selling volume basically the same as some of the buying volume, so not much to say about that. We'll see if we undercut these lows again. And hold on, we have earnings. Earnings November 3rd, so that's next Tuesday. So still some time to trade this, but again, if you're like me and you have an earnings rule where you're only holding if you have a 10% profit, it's gonna be hard to get 10% profit in the next week on this unless it just bolts towards earnings. But what am I watching for? If I'm in the stock already, do the lows from today hold? If not, I'll probably take some size off there, and then the rest of my stop would be under the 20-day simple moving average. All right, let's go through your comments, see what you guys want to see. So JD, NIO covered, LI. Let's do that one. LI. Okay, so just throwing it out there, I don't typically trade IPOs, so not super familiar with how they act, how they respond. It doesn't even have the 200-day simple moving average in there, just got the 50-day, so I'm just going to hold my comments on this. I don't have enough experience. I don't want to give you guys bad information. Sorry about that, Joshua, but want to talk about what I'm familiar with. Let's go TTCF, Tattoo Chef. All right, let's see. Oh, is this the IPO from, don't tell me, what stock was this? FMCI, right? FMCI, that's what this pattern looks like at least. Yeah, really strong pullback through here. I don't know how much technical analysis would have helped you with that. You would have just been stopped out, like clearly through this area. But you see how volatile that is. Now, it's still pressing on those lower Bollinger Bands. We got higher highs, higher lows today, 11%. But until we start closing over some of the shorter term moving averages, not a stock that I would trade. You see lower volume with the press higher today too. Not typically a good sign. You want those pivots to be on higher volume, kind of showing you how much or how many buyers are coming in. So yeah, not buying in a downtrend. If we can start to get some closes over these moving averages, maybe it becomes a stock I would trade again, but too much volatility here, not giving a very clean entry point. But if you're in the stock already, you're using your stop loss rules of whatever percent that you hold as your get out of jail price. Yeah, just a lot of volatility with that one. TTCF, Tattoo Chef. I'm pretty sure that's the FMCI one. Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, crazy volatility with that one. Sorry about that. All right, so AMD. Yes, AMD was on my list to talk about. So they just had earnings. From everything I read, which wasn't too much because, again, I trade mostly off technicals, but everything I read, it looked like they killed it. And when stocks kill earnings, have decent guidance, and they still move the opposite direction, that's not the time to buy a stock. So the reverse is true. If you see terrible news about something, they have terrible earnings or something like that, and the stock still breaks out, that just shows you that there's so many buyers there that they probably know something that's not getting out. And you want to either hold or add onto a position when bad news comes in and it holds basically the same price or goes higher. The opposite's true in this case. It seemed like all good news, could be wrong, so let me know if I'm wrong about this, but from what I read, looked like good news. And we saw selling, breaking through all those moving averages, closing relatively close to the low of the day, near those lower Bollinger Bands. We're always going to get increased volume on earnings, but not something that I would be holding. And if it starts to turn around, you could always add back. So just kind of drawing resistance through here. If it breaks above this, then yeah, you can add back and just kind of disregard this candle. But until the stock starts showing some strength in breaking over resistance, you don't want to be holding on to a stock that just had good news and is starting to press even lower. Because you see one gap, two gaps in this chart. We're still, let's see, still 7% away from the previous lows through here. But if that starts pressing down, you do have some gaps in the chart to fill on the downside. So something I would just be cautious about. keep to your stop loss rules if you're in AMD. And if you're looking to buy, wait till it starts to show some strength. It's AMD. Let's see. PEIX, covered that. No, not an options trader. I don't use Fibonacci retracements. It can be valuable. A lot of people trade it with that, but just not something I trade with. I try to keep my screen as clean as possible. I know there's a couple moving averages and Bollinger Bands, but nothing too crazy on there. So TWLO, TWLO, broke and closed under some previous lows. Never a good sign. Has a gap down here. High selling volume. All the signs that point to just get out, take your profits while you can. Again, you can always add back if it breaks over these previous highs and over the 8-day and 20-day simple moving average, but everything that the chart is showing right here is showing weakness. Does this have to go down? No, nothing has to happen. There's no absolutes in the market, especially with technical analysis. It's just about adding probabilities to your trade, and the probabilities on this one show that it's in a short-term downtrend, shows high selling volume, shows a gap here that could be filled along with the 50-day simple moving average right around that area. So not looking good in the short term for Twilio. NFE. So yeah, have this on my watch list as well. Get that pullback to the 8-day, then that broke through to the 20-day, which held as support today. Let's see, when is earnings though? So earnings is Thursday before the market opens, so only day to trade this is tomorrow before earnings. So I'm not taking a new trade at this point. If you're in the stock already, you stick to your earnings rules. What are your earning rules? I take profit if I'm not holding over 10% of a profit. I'll watch this because this was a stock in a very strong uptrend. If earnings goes well and we get back on that uptrend, this can start pressing the rest of the market higher. But earnings is always a coin flip. Let's see, what else do we got? I think that's it. NLS, yeah, let's cover that guy. And then I do have a couple more that I wanted to get to before we close this. So NLS, is this, yeah, this is the similar to Peloton, I think. So really strong uptrend through here. Now we start to get some weakness, some closes under that 8-day exponential moving average. Relatively high selling volume, not as much today, but got an inside day. So what am I looking for? Do we tomorrow undercut that today's low or Monday's low of 2306? So if it breaks under 23, you're looking at a pullback to at least the 20-day, which would be 2216. And then under that, you have a strong move down to the previous base and the 50-day. You should not let it happen. If we start breaking under these lows, use that as your stop. Again, you can always add back on when the market starts to correct and gives a strong uptrend. Right now, there's choppy trading all the way around. So that's Twilio, NFE, and all right, let's get to just a couple. Tesla had their earnings last week. You could see this day had their earnings and then just kind of sold off throughout the day. But Tesla just refuses to close under its 50-day simple moving average. You can see the low here closed right on it and then pivoted. Here we broke under, couldn't close under, and then pushed higher, pivoted. Even, let's see, Tuesday, Monday, Friday. Friday closed right on it. Monday gapped lower, pressed higher, closed right on it. Today moved a little bit lower, closed right on it. So this continues to trade in like a tightening channel. It's not perfect, not perfect through there, but you can see it's getting tighter and tighter. Even earnings didn't break it out of this channel. Volume is getting lighter and lighter. You can see overall Tesla's been in a very strong uptrend. So this is a stock that now that the earning volatility is out of the way, and volume is getting lighter. It's held support at that 50-day, now getting right on the 8-day and 20-day. This is something that I would look to trade going into the rest of this week or next week. Again, I'm not trading with large size right now, but if we're going to put our stocks in, or we're going to put our money into some stocks, we want the stocks that work, that are holding up well. So you can see price relativity, slight uptrend there. So holding up well, at least earning volatility is out of the way. And if we can start pressing higher, showing some strength, I'd probably use the high from earnings. So what is that, 445? If it breaks over 445, that would be my buy point on Tesla. Stitch Fix, man, this just keeps on going. So you can see I bought and sold kind of throughout there, and then found support at the 50-day simple moving average, and then has just been in a really strong uptrend through here. This was one of the stocks that I was using as a temperature check for the market. So 4 days of lower highs through here, but that 8-day held as support on Monday. And then today you just saw a clean higher high, higher low, close near the high of the day, up 6%. Volume relatively steady. So I did not trade this one, but it had all the makings of a good stock that's staying in an uptrend, because breaks out and then moves down sideways on lighter volume till it gets to that 8-day, which is held as support the entire way. So that's Stitch Fix, SFIX, CBAT. So this is one that I've been keeping an eye on, lighter traded stock, but the volume pattern looks basically what I want. I want breakouts with high volume, and then the days it pulls back, look at this. On these closed days, like red days, look at how little that volume is. It's nothing. So very little people are willing to sell at this point, and you see why, because it broke out on heavy volume again. And then you got a little bit of a blow off top here, red candle close outside of the upper Bollinger Band. Then we get the sideways or downward movement. That red candle close, it doesn't always happen, but it's one of the higher probability setups in the market. So once you get that red candle close outside of an extended upper Bollinger Band, definitely lock in some profit there. Doesn't have to go down, doesn't have to go sideways, but probability wise, that's what it leans towards. Since then, still, let me get rid of the, so still breaks out, then it got really quiet, little move up here, but still has stayed really, really quiet through here. I haven't bought in yet. I'll probably use the high, let's see, yeah, it's like right on that. If we can break over and close over some of these previous days highs, I'll start a position there. But again, 5% of my portfolio, not anything more than that, maybe even a little bit less, since it's such a light traded stock, under $5. Oh, actually, it's $2.88. This is going to be a stock that I watch, not a stock that I'll trade. If it can get over 3, then I'll start watching it more. But I do like the setup. A lot of solid lows right there. This will be tempting for me. We'll see if I trade this one, but I like the setup, like the volume pattern, like basically everything about that, but I needed to show strength before I buy in. So that's CBAT. I see GRWG in the chat, so let's get to that guy. Has to be a super frustrating stock to trade. I tried to trade it twice, got stopped out both times. Then we start to see some high volume in the breakout, lower volume in the pullback, broke out again, and then we just got that huge press down. I don't know if another stock in this industry had earnings or something that pressed this lower. Don't know the news about why that dumped so quickly, but you can see today was an inside day on lighter volume, but still in between that 8-day and the 20-day simple moving average. If you're still in the stock, you're probably using a little bit lower than Monday's low as your stop loss. Yeah, it's been a tough one to trade. Trading right now has been tough overall. Hopefully you took some profit on the way up, because this is what, 17% gain through here. If this was your pivot point, let's see, 17, 18% through the high. So hopefully you took some profit on the way up, locked it in there, and then you're just using some previous day's lows, 20-day simple moving average for your stop at the rest. If you get stopped out and then it moves up and pivots higher, then you could get right back in. You miss out on a little bit through there, but at least you're avoiding a further pullback down where it can get really nasty. Like in Workhorse, you saw kind of a similar frustration in trading, broke out, and then right here is what I'm mentioning. It broke out, had that really high spike, and then has just trickled down much lower. So even if you used that low as your stop here, you would have saved yourself 23%. Definitely can't take a 23% loss and be consistently profitable in the market. But that's why I always stress, get out, get your emotions outside of the trade, think logically, and then if it starts showing strength, then you can get back in the trade. When your money's in the market, you're always going to be trading more emotionally when your money's invested. So that's why I like to write out a plan before the market opens each day of where's my stops, where will be my entries. And then after the first hour, I let the first hour kind of play out in the market, and then I go back and then I put all my stops in, put all my buys in, and then I like to not even look at the market as much as I can. I do take a peek at stock twits, but the more I'm watching the market, the more I want to overtrade, and I want to eliminate that as much as possible. So I like to have that written plan before the market opens, so I'm just executing plan and not trading and overtrading based on emotion. I had one other one that I want to talk about. Where is it? MELI. So this one you can see, last one for the day, really strong uptrend through here, 200% since April. And then even in the shorter term, it went up 40% in a couple months since September, showing great relative strength, always a good sign. And then we get that pullback to the 8-day exponential moving average, right through there. Volumes getting much lighter, so sellers are exhausting. So a lot of people that have wanted to take profit off this strong move are done taking profit. Do you just buy into a downtrend? No, never that. So if this turns around, starts pressing higher, you could use today's high as a buy entry point of 1294, say, or like the previous day's high here if you want a safer entry. But let's go over the checks. Increasing relative strength while the market's showing weakness. This is moving higher. Selling volume, as this pulled back to the 8-day, has gotten lighter and lighter. Selling is exhausting. It's right at a support level, the 8-day exponential moving average. So it's checking all the boxes, no earnings coming up. So if this breaks over some previous high, I might add this tomorrow if it does so. If it breaks onto the downside, we're watching the 20-day simple moving average here, which also coincides with the lows of these 3 or 4 trading days right there. But again, I'm not buying if it's dipping down and pressing on the 20-day. I'm buying if it's breaking out. Because anytime your money's in the market, your money's at risk. I only want my money at risk if the stock's showing strength in an uptrend, breaking out, or showing signals of a future breakout. If not, I want to be in cash as much as I can, because I won't lose money in cash. All right, so I think that's everything that I had. Any more stocks that you guys want to see, drop it in the chat. We'll give it 1 minute. And while you guys do that, I'll just switch over to this. So if you guys are new to the channel, please Subscribe. We do these on Tuesdays now. Tuesdays and Fridays. Friday will be a little bit long, probably around the same time, but instead of just charts, we'll also go over different types of trading styles or some aspect of trading, not just the technical analysis. Follow me on StockTwits and Twitter. StockTwits, you can see everything that I'm currently in. Twitter, I'll post typically at night, just some stocks that I'm watching. And yeah, please leave a like. That helps me out tremendously. I don't have anything to sell. I'm not selling anything. So if I could get paid with YouTube for all the work, that would be great. So simple like would really help me out. And we got one more in the chat. So let's go. AXNX. This one's on my watch list as well. You see kind of breakout from the bottom here, 45%. So good relative strength. This does trade very choppy, so probably not one that I'll take, but looking at this kind of flat area, if we could break over that, that would be a buy point, because you can also see these Bollinger Bands are starting to constrict. When that happens, the breakouts can be stronger, especially after this broke out 45% and then started just pulling back. Let's see what the lowest pullback is from the high. Only 13%. That's pretty strong. Overall, you can see this is in a fairly solid uptrend. Interesting. Yeah, I have this stock on my watch list. It's one that I'm monitoring. I do like being on the outside, not in the trade yet. I do like these lower wicks undercutting previous lows, because if you put your stop at like right on the previous low or some of these moving averages, it stopped out those traders. So it got a group of fresh traders in right now that will typically hold on through here. So looking for a breakout over kind of the previous highs as my buy point in there. So that's AXNX. The last 3 days, yeah. Today was bullish engulfing, I guess technically. The closes over the 8-day and the 20-day, that's still constructive. But if you're in the stock already, then you probably put your stop loss. Let's see, what would that be? Put your stop loss under today's low. If it keeps on messing around and is this volatile, there's easier stocks to trade. If this was kind of like the last candle before the breakout and you put your stop under the previous low, then you'll be solid. So that's AXNX, and that is the live stream. Follow me at StockTwits Twitter, leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys on Friday. Have a great rest of your week.